Finally, in the third part, this is the third part, I'd like to describe iSyncHeart individual analysis very quickly. It is very simple analysis. The first item is the iSyncHeart individual analysis is RR time series extracted from iSyncWave PPG recording. RR means bit-to-bit time interval time series from the PPG signal, detrended. The first RR interval is extracted through the machine learning algorithm and then detrended and go through the subsequent feature analysis. This is the heart rate variability parameter extracted from RR interval. Classified basically time domain result and frequency domain result. In the time domain, there is a lot of time domain parameter. RR mean is average bit interval. RR median is median value. And RR mode is most frequent value, and etc. There are many time domain parameters. Most important one is SDNN, the standard deviation of RR interval, which reflect cardiac flexibility and buffer capacity. Normally decrease with age, decreased with age. If the patient have lower SDNN compared to age normative value, the patient has been undergoing highly stressful situation for a long time. This is the frequency domain, HRV parameter. In the frequency domain, there is a LF band and HF band. LF reflect the sympathetic activity. HF reflect the parasympathetic activity. LF-HF ratio is a measure of the sympathovagal balance in autonomic nervous function. If the ratio is close to 1, the autonomic balance is good. Otherwise, it's not in a balanced status. In the non-linear result, this is the Poincare plot. This shows the RR interval like this non-linear manner. This is the nth RR interval. This is n+1 next RR interval. This is the non-linear plot. This plot shows very irregular pattern. This is a very regular pattern like this. Usually irregular pattern is healthy pattern. The widespread is healthy pattern. This is very particular example. Very regular but very widespread. In this case, HRV summary report shows the percentile value compared to the iSyncHeart normative database. In this case, stress index is very high. In HRV parameter SDNN and RMSSD, total power is very low percentile. The PNS and SNS activity, in this case, PNS dominate SNS activity. Generally, this shows the unhealthy, very unhealthy autonomic function. This 2D chart shows this subject in the overloaded status. In the HRV tachogram, histogram shows the very sharp distribution. This we usually call the high kurtosis. This is which means very poor cardiac flexibility. The very wide pattern is the very superior cardiac flexibility. In this case, very poor. In the general adaptive syndrome model, gas phase model analysis shows this person is in the resistant status before exhaustion, close to exhaustion. The machine learning based emotion detection algorithm predict this subject is kind of depressed, but anxiety is normal. We can combine iSyncHeart HRV analysis with QEEG analysis for fully understanding patient nervous system.